Hello there, Internet friends. I am Danielle Pierce, the creator of Property Preservation Mastery and founder of Real Estate Profit Lab. Unless you've been under a rock for the last 14 days, you should know about our new program that we've launched. It's called Side Hustle Heavy. Absolutely fantastic product. We'll talk more about that in just a second. But before that, again, just always like to introduce myself in case there's someone who's new, who's never seen me before. If that's you, welcome. Hopefully you'll come back and see us. If you're a returning subscriber or a longtime subscriber, thank you first and foremost. And please do like, subscribe, share the video, do all that good stuff. So I am the creator of Real Estate Profit Lab, or founder of Real Estate Profit Lab, 14-year full-time real estate entrepreneur, national property preservation expert, have hundreds of testimonials and success stories and case studies and all the good stuff across the internet streets. You can go find those at your leisure. Today we're talking about Side Hustle Heavy. I've been talking about it for the last 14 days. Listen, the last day for early bird pricing is tonight at midnight. I know there's going to be several dozen emails at midnight tonight. I'm gonna go to sleep. Actually, I'm not gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna be up because I'm up late. But I'm not gonna. We're not gonna respond to those emails. Nobody on the team is gonna respond to those emails because the deadline again is midnight. And if you followed or paid attention to any of our prior offerings, then you know that when we say something, we mean it. So sorry, friends. Today is the last day at midnight, and that is Central Standard Time. I am hosting a special webinar also tonight, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, one-time webinar going into specifics on Side Hustle Heavy. So I'm going to do some screen shares, show you behind the scenes, show you what you're going to get for your $200 because that's the question most people ask, and rightfully so, right? So I want to make sure that I cover that in excruciating detail so that you are crystal clear on what it is and what it isn't and who it's for and who it's not for. So that's tonight at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. And I'm going to do that on YouTube, actually probably Facebook too. So stay tuned for that. Turn your notifications on if they're not on already. They should be, because sometimes these platforms be shady. They don't send out the notifications unless you're talking about some ratchet shit, which I'm usually not, at least not online anyway. Anywho, Clubhouse also tonight at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. So for Clubhouse, I'm just going to be talking about my journey specifically from four-figure side hustles to my seven-figure business and what that looked like, the evolution. How did it feel? What did I do specifically? Which side hustles are you talking about, Danielle? I'm going to be doing that on Clubhouse. So again, quick recap, 8 o'clock, live training, Side Hustle Heavy. That's for those folks who've not paid attention to anything over the last 14 days. I got you one last time. And then 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, I'll be on Clubhouse. And again, you can find that event on Clubhouse in a little bit as soon as I create it. And I'm just going to be talking about my journey from four-figure side hustles to this seven-figure business. After tonight, the founding member discounts go bye-bye. There's no more lifetime memberships available. Lifetime memberships, obviously, you pay one fee, you never pay again. If you've been paying attention again to anything that we've ever done, it's super beneficial to be connected to me. So I would hope that you would go ahead and take advantage of that lifetime membership because that's going to be the cheapest thing that we ever offer, right? After today, you're going to pay an additional $1,000 more for the same information you can get today for $200, right? And visit sidehustleheavy.com to go ahead and get more information and register. Anyone who's looking to generate an extra $1,000 or so every single month, anyone who's tech savvy and computer literate and comfortable with their mobile phone and getting paid electronically, anyone who wants to create that money without starting a business or getting another job, this is for you. Again, that's sidehustleheavy.com. So let's get into this story today about being the family ATM. First of all, first of all, how many of you all watching right now feel that you are the family ATM, or you have been the family ATM, or you used to be the family ATM? If that sounds like you, any of those descriptions, go ahead and drop a comment down below. I'm just curious to see because typically what happens is this whole law of attraction and energy thing, right? Uh, much of my audience, much of the people who like listen to what I have to say, and some of y'all, but you really listen to every word because I sometimes people will tell me stuff. And I'm like, did I say that out loud on the internet? Damn. So if you're someone who's been doing that, then you know that I've been that in the past for my family, and it took me a very long time to get past it. Right. So if that sounds like you, drop a comment below. I love to hear from you. Typically, those who listen to me, they are those who fall into the category where they've been the they've been the fixer or the glue or the helper. And of course, that typically leads to being the family ATM. And I see that in many families, many Black families, probably many families of all ethnicities. But obviously, I'm a Black woman. This is the lens that I view the world, and that's the lens that's who I'm speaking to specifically. So a lot of times you see that in these families. I was that person for dun, 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 25 years, starting at the age of 13 when I became a caddy at Idlewild Country Club in Flossmoor, Illinois. So, quick story about how I became a caddy. I was broke, I was poor, we didn't have enough of anything. I was in the office at Rich Central in Olympia Fields. I saw a sign, a notice, because I'm always reading something, and it said something like summer job, and I didn't even read the rest of it. I saw the age requirement was 13. I was like, oh, I'm 13. I started high school when I was 13 because smart child. I keep telling y'all that. So I went down and applied to become a caddy. I didn't know shit about being a caddy. Ain't never seen nobody play golf. Probably never even heard of golf until I went down there. But they said that they were going to. We get paid every day, and I was like, that sounds like something I want to do. So I was a caddy, and from the time I became a caddy, that is what kick-started my journey to being the family ATM. So I got paid every day. You get paid in cash, right? This was back before they was tracking the hell out of everything, right? And so my very first round, I made $20, and I remember so the first round took 4.5 hours. Terrible golfer that I had, horrible handicap. It was probably like a 35. She didn't know what she was doing. Bad attitude the whole night. Like it was an atrocious experience. But when I got that cool, crisp $20 bill at the end of that hot ass day and that long round, all that stuff went away. I was ecstatic. Which I mean just goes to show you the state of mind that I was in, where I was just like, oh my God, $20 was a lot of money back when I was 13 and whatever year that was, 93 maybe. Um, I was happy about it, even though I didn't have anything to compare to. So I didn't know how mean she was because she was my first, person that I caddied for. I didn't know how bad of a golfer she was because I didn't know shit about golf. All I knew was I got $20. I was like, huh, I'll be back tomorrow. So I did this from 13 through 17. That was my first look at people who weren't living hand to mouth. I was amazed that folks paid at the time like $20,000 to become a member of Idlewild. Who knows what it is right now? And they paid to go out and play golf too. So I'm like, so you pay an annual fee and then you pay when you go play golf too. Okay, cool. So I did that. And then every time I got paid, guess what I would do when I got home? I would either give money to, my mother usually to help out with gas or to buy food or to buy groceries. Or, my younger brothers, they needed money to go to the candy store because, honey, we love the candy store. 100 pieces of candy for $1. Yes, give me all the candy. That really started my, I don't want to use the word addiction, but my affinity for candy started then. And so I did that starting at the age of 13 years old. So yeah, this story is kind of taking me back a little bit. That continued. I went through, finished out high school. I told y'all about the story. We moved to Atlanta, along with everybody else to, the Black Mecca, still the Black Mecca, right? Black Hollywood, to get a better life. And it didn't really quite get that happy ending. But I left, went to Georgia for about a year and a half, graduated from Booker T. Washington High School in Atlanta, went back to U of I in Champaign. So freshman year. And again, I'm still, struggling, still living hand to mouth. Didn't have a lot. Not as caddying though, because that helped me get money to buy clothes and food and etc. So freshman year, I'm walking down the stairs one day. I was an Evans scholar because my caddying got me an Evans scholarship, so that paid for my tuition and housing. So I was an Evans scholar at University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and I was walking down the stairs. That's where the mailboxes were at, and I saw all these envelopes in the mailboxes, and they were pink. And I was like, what's this? And I see a lot of people have them. And then I hear this girl screaming. She's talking about refund checks. I'm just like, refund checks? What the hell is this girl talking about? So anyway, I go to my box, and it's the only thing that's inside the box is this little red envelope. Looks like something you get your W-2 or 1099 in. And I opened it up, y'all. Shit, it was 2,000 some dollars. So it was a check for 2,000 some dollars inside. And I was like floored, right? And this just goes to show you how ill prepared I was for college, that I didn't even know what a refund check was, wasn't even expecting it. So they could have been cheating me for all I know, and I would never have known the difference. But what I do know is I got that 2000 some dollars, and I was like, man, game over. I went to Marketplace Mall, bought a bunch of stuff I didn't need, also bought a car. And you know what else I did? I sent money back home. Sent money back home to help pay for rent, help pay for food. Um, I felt like, looking back, I believe that I felt unworthy of this so-called good fortune. And so I felt compelled to give back, right? So that, I felt like I had more than enough, which was dumb considering it's only $2,000. And then, you are a freshman in college and your books do cost like $800 a semester. Like, the mind state looking back was just astonishing for me to think that I was, in a live, I had an abundance with just over $2,000 when in reality, I did not. So imagine feeling like that over $2,000. So this whole, and again, I started this journey of being the master of the universe or being a family ATM or whatever at the age of 13. And over the years, it's been frustrating. It's been enraging. It has been maddening. There's a lot of guilt that I felt along the way. Um, and then the craziest part of all is that the people you help actually resent you because they need your help. How many of y'all know that to be true? How many of you have helped people consistently over the years, typically people in your family, or it could be close friends, and they don't even like your ass? They don't even like you. They resent you. Every chance they get, they got some slick shit to say about you. And you steady, passing out loans that you, for one, you're not gonna get the money back. It's really not a loan. You steady passing out money. You steady, like, oh, we in this together. I'm here to, I'm down for the culture. I'm here. I'm the go-to person. You're steadily doing that, and they're steadily like dragging you every chance they get. That's been my reality, right? Or that's been my perceived reality, I should say. We're gonna talk about my shift in just a moment, but that's what happened for a very, very long time. So the silver lining is this. I didn't discover until I attended a training offered by Landmark Forum. And I know about Landmark from my partner, Thomas K.R. Stovall. Let me not forget to say the K.R. I want him texting me and be like, oh, you forgot to say Thomas K.R. Stovall. Sorry, Thomas. Um, he told me about a training called Landmark. And again, y'all know me. I'm just like, whatever. It sounds like Landmark. If you Google it, there's a lot of like cult stuff and this is a scam and all this other stuff. I didn't really too much care about that. But, Thomas gave it his stamp of approval. So I was like, I would check it out. So I go to Landmark, went to the initial training, um, went through so many different emotions at this training, y'all. Largely largely rage and being infuriated and frustrated. And then, because they push you and they push you and they push you and they poke you. And one of two things gonna happen. You either gonna go along with that wave and have this awakening, or you're gonna be pissed off and you're gonna leave. So I didn't leave. Some people did leave. Some people left the training, and the training is like all day, like 12 hours for 3 days straight. Some people left that training after that, after before the first day was over. So I stayed. And what I discovered is that all these years of being the helper, being the savior, being the glue, being the fixer, being the ha ha ha, I'm here to help everybody, I was getting a big payoff from that. Like, I was getting something from that. The narrative we like to tell ourselves is that, oh, I'm doing this because I like to help people. I see my family in need. I want to help them out. I don't mind, this is, what the good Lord told. All these different basically lies we tell ourselves. I was getting something out of it. And that is the distinction, or the epiphany that I think many of you probably need to have as well. It's not all altruistic where you're just doing this shit because you just love to give your money away. That's what we like to think, but that's not it. You're doing it because you're getting something out of it. So then they say, what are you getting out of it? And the first time she told me that, I was just pissed off. I was like, I ain't getting shit out of it, but headache, stress, resentment, BS. Like, what are you talking about? I'm getting nothing. I'm doing all this for all these years and I'm getting nothing in return. And they were like, no, you're getting something out of it. What are you getting out of it? So the reality is, what I was getting out of it is that I was getting the feeling of coming to the rescue, of being the smart one, of being the successful one, of being the one who had it all together, which is super ironic given that I really wasn't all that successful. It's like I wasn't successful at all. A lot of times, like I've given money to people when I didn't even have the money to give. And when people say that, it means that I needed this money, but I gave it to you because you asked, and I convinced myself that I did it for your benefit when I really did that shit for my benefit, so that I could feel like I was a hero and I was a savior, and nobody can function without me. That is the big payoff that I was getting, and that shit pissed me off. I'm laughing because you got to understand how pissed off I was when I heard this. Very similarly to a conversation I had with my therapist. This happened last year. I think I mentioned this before. So I have a therapist because we all should have one, and we were talking about relationships. And this man told me that based on what you're telling me, I see you still have some, there's still some insecurity or some feelings of inferiority that are still present. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? He was like, well, basically you wouldn't allow XYZ if you weren't in the space mentally to allow that to happen. I was pissed off about that too. I was like, listen, I know damn well I'm not paying out of pocket, paying good money to have you like verbally assault me in such a manner. Like I decline, this offering that you're giving me. However, he was right. And it didn't take me all day to recognize it. I was like, yeah, I see what you're saying. You got a point. So I have to first acknowledge it, like get past the resentment and the like who the hell you talking to type feeling, and then be like, okay, you have a point. I see what you're saying. And then you work on that. Very similar to dealing with my family. We are when I say we, I'm talking about those the saviors, the heroes, the glue, the helpers, the fixers, the ones who are like always trying to hold everything together. What we get out of it, not me anymore, because I've gotten past this, but what many of us get out of it is this feeling of being needed. Also, very similar, there was an article that came out about why high performing women like toxic men. High performing women like projects. They're good at getting shit done. They manage projects well. They're probably very skilled in project management in their corporate position. So they apply that to their relationships. And so they typically end up in relationships with a lot of toxicity. Very similar concept. It's all interrelated, right? So that was my big payoff, you guys. That was my aha moment. Because at the end of the day, $100,000, making that in a year, first of all, ain't no money when you're talking about your immediate family. And then you add on, 3 to 5 folks in your extended family and friends who are always asking for 50, 100, 200, $500. It's nothing. Like it's literally pennies. And most of us don't realize that. I know I didn't realize that shit. I was like, oh, I'm making a whole bunch of money. It's like, no, you ain't making no money. Like, this is dumb. And you're making no money. And then you're passing it all out in the name of helping these other people out when really you need to be helping yourself. You need to be fixing your own family, taking care of your own children, putting your oxygen mask on first. One of the things me and my now ex-husband got into it about is that he would point these things out to me, and I wasn't in a place to hear that. I didn't have eyes to see nor ears to hear. um it got better over time, but in the beginning I was just like, no, like they can, I'm gonna help them out, you can be quiet. Right, this is like my mentality, and that was not the right way to be. But I wasn't in the space to acknowledge that for many, 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 many moons, I should say, um, until very recently. So I'm 41 now, and I would say it took me until late 30s to get to a place where I could just comfortably say no and go on about my life and not give a damn about, how people were going to figure it out. Because the reality is this: they're going to figure it out without you. I know your ego can't handle the idea that the world revolves around things other than yourself, but they're going to figure it out without you, or they won't. But either way, you'll be fine and they'll be fine. Very similar to working a job in corporate America. You might think you're indispensable. Oh my God, if I found another job, I don't want to tell them about this new position. They're going to freak out. That company has been around for, I don't know, 20 years, 50 years, 200 years. You think that Fortune 100 company is not going to be able to figure that shit out if you leave? right? They've been figuring it out before you, they're gonna figure it out after you, right? These are the realities that I had to to uh to realize, that to come to, I should say, because I definitely wasn't in the space to do it for many, many years. I know what you're thinking now. First of all, before I tell you what you're thinking about, like, subscribe, share the video if you haven't already. Tag all the family ATM folks, people who are the family ATM, or those who even are the ones who are always asking for money. Tag all those folks, please. I would love to get their feedback and see what they have to say. Um, please do like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. I know what you're thinking now. You're thinking, I don't want to be considered arrogant or selfish, and I really, really want to help people, right? So I hear what you're saying, Danielle, but there's always a but, and many of you believe in that but that you put at the end of things. So let's address that for a second. Got another story, and this just happened a few weeks ago. I was talking to, again, my partner Thomas K.R. Stovall, and I was like, you know what? I should do a Facebook group with all the folks in my family, where I just kind of just share what I know and what's worked for me, and let people ask questions and join in, and you know help them out and do screen shares and Zoom meetings. And I should do something like that, because I'm thinking, like, why haven't I done that? Because there's still, even though I've addressed this fixing thing, there's still, it still pops up from time to time, because I've conditioned myself for so long to be this way. So it's not 100% eradicated, but it's pretty damn close. Okay. So I was like, I should do that. And he was like, hmm, that sounds good in theory. I was like, okay. And then I was like, but nobody asked me to do that though. Like, nobody ever asked me to do that. There's been no request. Nobody ever asked me shit. Nobody ever asked me anything, particularly not creating a group for the family where you could just come in and ask questions and you're going to answer it. Like, nobody's ever asked me to do anything along those lines, right? Nobody ever in life. I'm 41. So he told me that, Danielle, he said, there's three ways that you can support people when they're in making a change in their lives. And I was like, please do tell me the three ways. Um, First is obviously to lead by example. All right, cool. Easy enough. Got that. Second way, introduce them to environments where people are doing the things and living the lives that they desire. As way number two, right? Third way is to share stories about folks who are in different situations, and wait for people to see themselves inside of the story. That's the third way. So, again, three ways to create a shift in somebody else's life: lead by example, expose them to new environments, or share stories and allow people to see themselves inside of the story, i.e., when the student is ready, the teacher will appear type thing. Like, real basic stuff, right? But of course, I never seem to apply it when I need to. When people have the ears to hear and the eyes to see, that is when they will change. And I was just like, ha, I'll be damned. Basically, it's people have to come to that feeling of enlightenment on their own, without you poking, prodding, cursing, yelling, dragging, screaming, threatening. They have to do that in their own time. It ain't for you to do that. People are at different levels. That doesn't mean your level is better than the other person. It just means that you got there faster than they did. Doesn't mean one person's better than the other. People don't change by force, shame, bullying, being frustrated. Nobody. Think about your kids. Think about your man. Think about your woman. Think about any situation in your life. You don't change folks by cursing them out and yelling at them. As much as we like to think that it's an effective way, even whooping, right? A lot of people, black folks, swear these kids need an ass whooping and they'll be in line. I'm like, do they? Is that what they need? I would wager that most of the folks who were in prison definitely got ass whoopings when they were younger, right? I don't have any scientific studies to cite, but I don't think that I would think that that is the case. But yet, it still doesn't stop the average person from saying, "I'm going to beat these kids into submission, because then, you know, I'll save them from the world having to do it for them, or the police doing it for them. So I'm going to beat them myself to get them in line, to get them ready for, so they can withstand the beatings that are going to come in the world." If you think about this on any level, like, it literally is the most illogical thing. but yet we still do it. You can't change your brothers, sisters, cousins, friends, and other family members by threatening them, talking crazy to them, shaming them. Like people make all these posts about, oh, y'all should take y'all $600 and start an LLC and build generational wealth. Y'all out here buying Jordans. Let people buy whatever they buy. If they weren't in a space to create an LLC for one, creating an LLC don't create no generational wealth. That's dumb. And for two, if they were in a space to do that, then they would do it. And they not gonna get in that space because you making a Facebook post talking about people standing in line for Jordans. They still gonna stand their ass in line for Jordans because that's what people do. What they do. Period. For many of you, you are the change agent in your family. You are the change agent in your family. That's true, right? I think that's clear for a lot of you because again, I attract other change agents, so I know. But don't carry it around as this huge weight on your shoulders, like, oh my gosh, I got to hurry up and lead the way, and it's so hard, and everybody's depending on me and counting on me. Don't carry it that way because that's a way to, again, there's that payoff feeling, right? There's that feeling of being needed and being a martyr, like, oh my gosh, I can't do this because what will they think? Or people, I'll let people down, and blah blah blah. Like all this stuff is just that's just ego talking. Like you got to leave that behind. And again, you change folks by leading the way by example, exposing them to new environments, or allow sharing stories and allowing them to see themselves inside of the story so that they can feel that they are the ones who had the awakening and not you pointing them to it. Very similar to how you talking to your man and something, right? Because women, we be knowing stuff. Look at me talking. My ebonics be slipping in from time to time. We be knowing stuff, but we got to give the men an opportunity to come to that knowing in their own time, which typically, takes a little bit longer than us. But you can't just tell them this is the wrong way. You got to just sit back and let them figure that shit out on their own. Oh, God. I love it. I love it. Lead by example and let others align their frequency with your channel in their own time. For some of you, if you could just do that one thing, your life will be 200% easier. And I'm telling you this because I know from experience, it's a hard burden to carry, and you ain't got to carry it. You're doing it because you want to, because you like feeling needed and you like feeling like a martyr, or you have an addiction to pain or trauma. Like that's a real thing. And there's no shame in any of this stuff, right? There's no shame in any of it because people, like, we all have flaws. We all have addictions to weird, random things, pain, trauma, whatever the case may be. But you have to at least acknowledge it, and then you could deal with it. But for some folks, if you're stuck in this is not me, how dare you say that I'm getting a big payoff for being the helper in my family. If you're not, if that's your response right now, if that's your knee jerk reaction, then you're not ready, and that's okay. People get ready in their own time. So one of two things is going to happen once you become a member of Side Hustle Heavy and start to increase your monthly cash flow every single month like clockwork and build your confidence, because those two things go hand in hand. The results are the proof, and the proof creates the confidence, right? And for many of us, we lack confidence, like I did for so many years in so many different capacities. It showed up in my business life. It showed up in my personal life. Like I told you, my therapist told me that I still had some confidence issues, and I was like, no, first of all, I don't want to hear this shit. However, he was right. Same thing when I went to the landmark training, and they were like, well, what are you getting out of this? You're trying to convince us that you've just helped all these people for all these years and you just do it out of the kindness of your heart. But what are you getting out of it? So I had to make that transition or that shift as well. So one of two things is going to happen once you start to make that shift inside of our Side Hustle Heavy membership. People are going to ask you, they're going to assume you're lucky because that's what we do. We we project, we minimize, we diminish, we talk trash, we make comments, we make Facebook posts, we make Instagram posts, we make tweets, we do a whole bunch of other things when we feel like someone is being lucky, right? Because they're assuming that they're a golden unicorn absolves you of ever having to do anything, because you can, like, oh, they just got lucky. Like some of the folks in our property preservation mastery program, some are doing freaking outstanding. Others are still struggling mentally, or they're having a hard time, generating the money that other people are making. Same training, same program, no special treatment, no one-on-one talking on the phone, no Zooms, none of that. right? But some assume that other people are lucky because again, it absolves you from ever having to shift from where you're at right now. So when you start making money inside of Side Hustle Heavy, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you got lucky," or they're gonna ask you how you did it. And what I'm telling you today, and what I've had to learn over the years, and what obviously I still need to learn from time to time, is that only concern yourself with those folks who specifically ask you for your help. If they didn't ask you nothing, don't tell them shit. It's very simple. I should make that a t-shirt slogan. If they didn't ask you nothing, then don't say shit. That's the motto. That's the rule book. And that's really the only rule book that you need. Now, granted, if you're someone who likes to give unsolicited advice and opinions, which I do, or I used to do, it's going to be a challenge for you because you're going to feel like, oh, this is an easy fix. I can just come and, tinker this and move this around and give this bit of advice and create this situation and all will be perfectly fine. But that's not what's needed from you. And plus, people are not going to appreciate you anyway. They're going to resent you and they're going to be mad at you and they're going to talk about you and they're going to say things like, "Oh, she's so arrogant," or "He's so arrogant," or "You think you better than everybody." They're going to make up all these things about you that are not true because you keep allowing them to do it. You keep allowing them to do that. Thank y'all for coming to my TED Talk today. I so appreciate y'all because I know some people are probably watching this and are infuriated. And if that is you, I feel you. I have been in that space of fury and rage. Like, who the hell does she think she's talking to? Like, I know that feeling. But on the other side of that feeling, if you choose to go to the other side of it, is freedom and enlightenment, um, and financial freedom too. That's what I'll be talking about on Clubhouse tonight is how I went from four-figure side hustles to now a seven-figure business. So that's going to happen tonight at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time on Clubhouse. 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, I am doing a live webinar, I should say, on Side Hustle Heavy, kind of the behind the red curtain look. So you guys can see exactly what you're getting for your 200 or 197 bucks. And again, after today, there's going to be no more lifetime memberships. A lifetime membership obviously means you pay once, you never pay again. That's not going to be an option anymore. Congrats again to the dozens and dozens, over 100 plus people around the country who've decided to become founding members. Can't wait for you to get inside of the group, and get started inside of the community and start making those shifts. Um, we love to see it. We're also going to be doing one detailed side hustle training every single month. I'll be doing that live. And then the private Facebook community, which I've mentioned a few times as well, you have access to that, along with our Baby Steps to Financial Freedom ebook, which is over 30 plus recession proof side hustles to generate an extra $1,000 or so every single month. I've done many of them. They all work, they're all legit. You ain't got to do all 30. You probably just need to do between 3 to 5 every single month, depending upon the type of money that you want to bring in, right? So if you're on our email list, which you should be, because most of the all the communication happens largely inside of email. We're sending out invitations to that live webinar tonight. That's going to be taking place on YouTube, and again, it's 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Also going to receive an invite to our Clubhouse chat tonight, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. And basically, I'm just going to be talking about my experience with leveling up. A lot of folks, I won't say claim they've leveled up, but a lot of folks have done it. But I want to share with you um, some of the specific things that I did mentally and like literally to make that transition. Because I can tell you, it doesn't just happen from praying and positive affirmations and thinking good thoughts and repeating shit in the mirror every single day. That's a part of it, but there's some other work that has to happen to make those things actually play out the way that you want them to. All right. So again, ladies and gents, sidehustleheavy.com is where you need to go to register. Would love to have you inside of membership and become one of our founding members. Phenomenal program, if I do say so myself. I do stand behind everything we do, 2000%. And if you have any thoughts about this video, any thoughts about being the savior in the family, any thoughts or resistance to me telling you to stop giving advice unless people ask you for it, then I encourage you to sit with those thoughts. Leave a comment below, not an angry comment. Well, if it's angry, obviously you can leave whatever comment you want. But sit with those thoughts and ask yourself, what is it specifically that I'm triggered by, and see if you can make some progress that way. Because that's what I had to do. And like I said, I started my bid as the family ATM at the age of 13. And it lasted, like I said, over 25 years. So it took a very, very long time. But for you, it doesn't have to take you that long. Nothing has to take as long as it takes. It's just a matter of, again, having eyes to see and ears to hear and being in the space mentally to hear things that are contrary to what you believe. Just because you have a thought does not mean that it's true, right? So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully we'll catch you guys either at 8 o'clock on the live training, 9 o'clock on Clubhouse. Would love to have you hop on so I can get on Clubhouse for the second time. Hopefully I remember how it works. But thank you guys again for tuning in. As always, sending you love, light, peace, blessings, grace, and clarity. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.